I'd like to bring the April 11th, 2012 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sherwood, Commissioner Morabito.
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi.
Here.
Commissioner Coletta.
Here.
Commissioner Simons. Commissioner Keller.
Here.
Commissioner Posenel.
Here.
Chairman Flouché.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
A couple of announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located in the lobby next to the sign-up sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on, including sub-items. Excuse me. Please note that there are stairs on the right, left, and the center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There's also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, letters they intend to present at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member at the back of the audience. And she should raise her hand back there. There she is. If you do not have 17 copies, please use the table with the overhead camera next to the podium to present your document. If you want your documents to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item number clearly marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are sitting in the table with the microphones in the front during the meeting. If you have any questions, please go to the back to talk to the staff member. Staff members, please raise your hands up here in the front again, please. A timer is activated for all speakers and will be limited to 2 minutes to make your presentations and statements. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones, pagers, and place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside and have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking to one another during the presentations and discussion. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors May 7th at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium, and no food, soda, coffee, etc. is allowed. The Commission today will break at 12:30 for lunch, 12:30 to 1 o'clock, and we will continue whatever we haven't finished at that time. Today we will also have the election of a new chairman or election of chairman and vice chairman. Approval of the minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from last month. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Let's do, we have one item on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry, we got to do the elections first. You're right. Okay. Do we have any nominations for chairman?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Due to the fact that we're going to have election and there are going to be 5 supervisors and 10 commissioners, I would recommend to stay with the same arrangement, and I nominate you as the chairman as a motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Election of the vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Mehdi Azarmi.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to have Vice Chairman Mediazami continue. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Consent agenda? Anybody want to pull anything? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I believe at this time, I need to get a motion. We were going to go into executive session. If I could get a motion?
I'll make a motion to have an executive session.
Second.
We have a motion to recess to executive session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. We will be back shortly, just a few minutes.
had to pay for everybody's lunch. That's what took so long in there.
Item number 2.
Mr. Chairman, I move we come out of executive
Thank
session.
you very much, Peter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 2.
Item 2 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 402-63277 from an AR agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone to an R1 20M single-family residential 20,000 square foot minimum lot size zone to bring the parcel into compliance with zoning in the Beaver Dam vicinity. Commission will probably recall that a rezone request for the other part of this parent parcel was before the commission last month. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone zones subject to the conditions in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Is the applicant present? We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
John, I know that one of the conditions is if the septic system fails, or they have to hook up to sewer. Is the sewer available in the area?
My understanding, Commissioner Zarmi, is that there is a sewer system nearby. It doesn't extend quite to this property, but it's close by.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve item number 2 to staff recommendations.
We have a motion to approve item number 2. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 402-21034 from an RE 10A residential recreation 10-acre minimum lot size zone to AR and AR 3A agricultural residential 1 and 3-acre minimum lot size zones to allow creation of a new residential parcel. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 3? Would you like to address the commission? Or just answer questions if we have any? Okay. The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 3. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 4.
Item 4 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 404-49007 from an R120M single-family residential 20,000 square foot minimum lot size zone to an SDRM special development multiple residential zone to accommodate increased building height and a floor plan with 2 kitchens in the Centennial Park vicinity. Staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? You the applicant for number 4?
I'm signed up to speak on the subject, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sorry, haven't got that far.
I'm just here to answer any questions you might
Okay, all right. If we have one speaker on the, on item number 4, if you'd like to speak, or just wait. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation. Second.
We have a motion to approve item number 4 and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5. Item number 5.
Item 5 is an evaluation of a request for a zoning use permit on assessor's parcel 404-19088 for a secondary residence in an AR agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone in the Centennial Park vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
The applicant is their representative here, our only speaker. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for item number 5. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6.
Yes, item number 6, an evaluation of requests for a recreational vehicle park plan for the Orchard Recreational Vehicle Park on assessor's parcel number 402-22-097, lying along the scenic boulevard in the scenic vicinity of Mohave County, Arizona. Staff recommends approval of the proposed RV park. Staff recommendation is based upon the review of Section 27J of the Mohave County zoning ordinance. County staff and other reviewing agencies recommend the approval of the recreational vehicle park, subject to the following conditions as outlined herein. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 6? And we have no speakers. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 6. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7.
Mr. Chairman, I have to excuse myself from this item.
All right, thank you. All right. Item number 7, we have a large number of speakers. And so what we're going to do is start off with the applicants giving us a overview, and then I will call 2 names at a time just to save some time. So when I call your name, if you would just come down to the first row.
Mr. Chairman, may I read the staff recommendation into the record, please?
I'm sorry?
May I read the staff recommendation into
Sure.
the record? Thank you. Item number 7, evaluation and request to approve a recreational vehicle park plan and petitions of exception for the Refuge Recreational Vehicle Park and Golf Resort. Assessor parcel numbers 120-46-364, 365, 366, and 367, lying along Arnold Palmer Drive in the Desert Hills vicinity, Mohave County, Arizona. You have in your packet 4 petitions on the RV park, and as you mentioned, several letters in your packet. Staff recommendation. Based upon the review of Section 27J of the Mohave County zoning ordinance, county staff and other reviewing agencies recommend approval of the recreational vehicle park, subject to the conditions as outlined herein. Thank you.
Okay, item number 7. Is the applicant here? Item number 7. Okay, Jerry, do you want to come up and speak, or?
Good morning. Thank you. First, I'd like to begin by thanking all of the county staff that has been instrumental in helping us with our
Excuse me, Jerry.
development plans.
Please state your name.
Jerry Aldridge. Again, I'd like to thank the county staff and Development Services and Public Works for their assistance. Quick background, Cindy and I were members of this golf course shortly after it opened many years ago. We saw the property struggle and fail and go into foreclosure. We're successful business people, and we decided to create a business plan that would attract business to this property and save this foreclosed property. Before our purchase, we met with the county to confirm the proper zoning was already in place. We purchased the property with a specific intent to reduce the golf course size to a manageable, efficient size, and with a specific intent to create a destination recreation vehicle resort in which to attract people from outside of the state of Arizona to come there and spend money as tourists and resort stays so that the property would be successful. That's our specific business plan. Is there any questions for me?
Any questions at this time of the speaker? Okay, we'll probably call you back.
Thank you.
All right. Dick Barchis, B-E-R, and Derek Easton. If Derek would come down. Just come up to the podium, state your name, please.
Yes, my name is Dick Barch. We're homeowners at the refuge. We built our home in 2004, and my wife and I are both golfers, and we've been members of the country club since the day it opened. And we feel that everything that the Aldridges have done to date has made the refuge a better place for us to live. And we are definitely not opposed to any of their future plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Derek? Don Clark, next.
Hi, my name is Derek Eason. I just wanted to say that I'm not opposed to the plan in place for the Aldridges. And that's it.
All right. Any questions of the speaker? No? Thank you very much. Shelley Sanders?
Hi, my name is Don Clark from Lake Havasu. I believe the refuge project is a win-win for the county. It will bring jobs, tax revenue that we currently do not have. As a real estate professional, I also believe this is a matter of private property rights for the landowner. The property is owned for what the landowner wants to do, so I believe it is the duty of this commission to vote yes in support of this project. You'll never make everyone happy in any kind of development in any location. It's always going to upset someone, but in this case, the large majority of the county residents will benefit from the added revenue. This project will also bring much-needed sales construction and property taxes to the county. County residents will not be affected in a negative way. If anything, this privately funded project will bring development and property values back to where they should be. Not a single taxpayer dollar is being spent on this, yet the revenue it will generate will go into the county budget, and I think you'll all agree we could use the revenue. It is possible that without this development, the golf course would not survive, which means the property values would most likely decline. There are many examples of golf courses across the country that have closed due to lack of revenue, and the value of property surrounding these courses took some very hard hits. This RV park is essential to the survival of the golf course, and without it, the homes will most certainly lose value immediately and take many years to recover, if they recover at all. From a real estate perspective, this is a great move for the county and will bring a lot of things to this community that we currently do not have. I urge you to please vote yes in support of this project. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Okay. Shelley, up next, Lloyd Hightower.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Sanders, and we are very much in support of the project at the refuge. We are homeowners in Lake Havasu, very close to the refuge, and then we are so excited about the projects that they have in plan and have put in place already that we've actually purchased property in the refuge very recently. So we very much support it. We love the options that it has brought to us. You have a letter before you that we have submitted. So we're very much in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, Roger Pearson will be next.
I'm Lloyd Hightower, a resident of the refuge. We've been a member of the Golf Country Club since inception, and we bought our home there in 2004. We are very much in favor of the redevelopment plan as presented by the Aldridges. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you.
My name is Roger Pearson. I live in the refuge on North Masters Court. I support the Aldridges and what they're doing, and I support this plan for obvious reasons. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? John Scott and Judy Selberg.
Good morning. My name is John Scott. My wife Mary and I are in the process of building a home in the refuge. Since recent years, there's been 358 golf courses closed in the United States. In the year 2011, 157 alone. You look at the golf course as it stands now, and the well-being of the homeowners are directly dependent on this golf course. People who think prices are depressed now can't even imagine what they would be if that golf course was to close. I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the people on an individual basis that were opposed to this, and they're good people, and I'm sure they feel that they're doing the right thing. But one of the comments was made, well, if the Aldridges didn't have it, somebody else would take it. That's not the case. There's been so much negativity on this, and it isn't the motor coach installment that's causing this. It's the public perception. I've been 32 years with major oil companies managing their assets, and I know how damaging public perception can be. And the problem with it is public perception is based on fear and not on facts. And the facts themselves state that we should be very fortunate that the Aldridges have a vision, have a plan, have the financial resources. The refuge is an absolute gem in Mohave County. It just worries the heck out of me to think that this won't get passed and that our property values will take a decline. The property values will come back there. The majority of the people, thank you for
Your statement.
any questions?
Any questions? Nope, thank you very much. Jim Harris.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Judy Selberg. Currently, I serve on the MCC Governing Board, District 1. I am on the Board of Directors for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I'm also associated as a director with the Havasu Health Foundation. My husband and I are full-time residents in the refuge and members in good standing in the Refuge Community Association. The room is filled with people who support the Refuge Golf and Country Club in its request for the technical review of the recreational vehicle park plan and approval of the petition of exception for a small portion of the Refuge Golf and Country Club. All of us will be grateful for your approval. The park will bring jobs to the area and help sustain the financial stability of the club. The plan is a positive step in bringing additional jobs and revenue to the entire county. The club now employs 47 people, and as the expansion moves forward, another 30 jobs will be created. This visionary and quality project will enhance our image, draw additional sources of revenue to the county, and provide a stabilizing effect for our refuge community and subdivision. It will bring critical support for reestablishing home and property values within the subdivision. This is evident from the numbers of new buyers who have become members and supporters of the Refuge Golf and Country Club. The plans for expansion of the clubhouse and unique spaces for entertainment, conferences, special occasions, and more have brought people from all over the country and the county. Please support the approval. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. David Seaver.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Jim Harris. I've been a Mohave County resident since 1974, and I've seen a lot of growth and development since then. Some good, some not so good. From a planning and zoning perspective, I believe this development is a good one. I think that the item before you is, for lack of a better term, a no-brainer. This development is well planned. It's a quality development and will generate much-needed jobs and revenue for the county. And I respectfully request that you guys approve this today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Phil Bracamonte?
My name is Dave Seaver. My wife Lynn and I have been full-time residents at the refuge since 2005. At that time, we became full members of the community at a $35,000 membership. We have seen the ups of the refuge. We've seen the downs, and the down. And now we're back on the up. And because of this, because we are enjoying our community and having more fun than we ever did before, both Linda and I strongly support the Aldridges in this endeavor. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you, sir. Chris Cooley.
Good morning, Phil Bracamonte. My wife and I purchased a property in the refuge in 2003, and shortly after we built a custom home there. We're there because this is a gated, private, closed community. To allow the community to be redeveloped internally is completely wrong. There's plenty of undeveloped land outside of the community for development of RV park. And I think to do this will just upset the entire community. And right now we're already experiencing a devaluation of home prices, real estate prices, and just no way that this community can remain private when you open the gates to the public and RV crowds and everything that comes with it. And I request that you deny this project. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Chuck Denny.
Good morning. My name is Chris Cooley, and I am a homeowner at the refuge. I've been a resident of Lake Havasu City, very active for over 30 years. I have seen the development from the very beginning at the refuge and what the Aldridges have done, and I feel that this request from the Aldridges should be approved, and I strongly recommend it. And thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you.
Thanks.
Joan Garshi.
Mr. Chairman, Chuck Denny, 1715 East Tradition Lane in the refuge. I have lived there full-time for 5 years, 22 years in Lake Havasu, and have watched the growth in the last year at the refuge start to move. It's very obvious with the numbers that you will receive from assessed valuation that new homes are being built and land is being sold. The flipping of the lots, it's almost not going to happen. They're down to what they can get for them, and you're going to see that take place. I would strongly recommend that you pass this request, and we can continue the growth and a lot of activity that's taking place. And I thank you very much for your time.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you, Chuck. Richard Miller.
My name is Joan Garnett, and I live in the refuge at 3815 North Masters Court. My husband and I bought property there and built in 2004. We also joined the golf club at the inception of it. And I strongly approve that, I strongly want you to approve the Aldridge's petition. Thank you very much.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Nancy Miller.
Hey, name is Richard Miller. I'm a property owner at the refuge. I purchased the property in approximately 2007. I signed a contract in order to purchase that property, and that contract had stiff requirements about RV parking in the refuge. Okay, I have a contract with the refuge. Okay, I'm obligated to that contract. I have not given the Aldridges any authorization to modify that contract to change the the refuge into an RV park. I still have my contract, they still have a contract with me, so what they are doing is illegal. Let me cite some case law. Smith Bakery versus Jernigan, Newcomb versus Belton, Helton Borough versus Keys, Ozen, Fitch Insurance. And basically, I'd like to note that there's no agreement between me and the Aldridges to modify the contract that existed when I purchased the property or when they purchased the property from the bank. That contract is still in existence, okay? The contract, okay, then also I'd like to cite Harborough versus People, the state of California. I live in California. I purchased the property in 2007 when I was a resident of California. And basically it's stating that the state cannot diminish the rights of the people, okay? Contracts are protected by the Constitution of the United States. They cannot be changed by state legislation, the city, or county rules, codes, or regulations. Okay. Like to also cite Lopez versus Payne, Norton versus Lewis, Smith versus the county engineers, Constitution provisions for public.
Let's finish your comment.
Okay. Basically, Constitution provisions for public officers and employees are required to adhere to the Constitution of the United States.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you.
Okay, the next.
And my name is Nancy Miller. Good morning. I'd like to relinquish the remainder of my time to my husband,
Okay,
Richard
go ahead.
Miller. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So in closing, you know, the board there, you know, took an oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. You took it freely, and you took it out reservation. I'm asking you to do your duty and to rule in the favor of those property owners who still have a contract that are required by what they purchased, whenever they purchased it, to go against the RV park, the Aldridges. I'd like to, basically, if the RV park goes in, I feel that my property values are going to be diminished what they could be without the RV park there. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm going to retain the right to take lawful action in a court of record to defend against those that I violated my rights as an individual, and also to seek compensation for those that are resulting in the loss of my property values and any cost I incurred in trying to maintain my property. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the speaker? Gary, thank you. Gary Kellogg and Kimberly Laparni.
Chairman Fluchet, members. I'm Gary Kellogg. I represent the Partnership for Economic Development, better known as the PED in Lake Havasu City. We actually are concerned with economic development all the way from the Bill Williams River all the way up to I-40. We have been in support, and my board has voted unanimously, has always been in support of the Aldridge's project. They came in at a time when nobody was investing, and they figure out a way to make this refuge not only successful but sustainable. At build-out, it really is for us about the jobs. And you're looking at 70-plus jobs, but they have the ability to turn over, you know, in the millions of dollars as far as that money circulating within the county. So it's good for the county. It's certainly good for Lake Havasu and the surrounding area. Again, the PED is in full support of this project and strongly encourage a timely and supportive request. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you, Gary. Okay, Kimberly, Cindy Aldridge next.
My name is Kimberly Laparn. We are multiple property owners in the refuge, and we live in the refuge full-time. We've been there since 2004, I believe. The improvements the Aldridges have done have been nothing but positive, and I do not oppose the proposition on the table.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Daniel Batt.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Aldridge. Thank you for this opportunity. I would just like to request that you approve our petition. We have met all the requirements that the county has regarding this project, and we're looking forward to building a really nice project down there. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions of the speaker?
Thank you.
Cindy. Ben Lepar.
Morning, my name is Daniel Barr, and I am the attorney for Jerry and Cindy Aldridge. It's been my honor and privilege to represent them for longer than I can remember. I'll save you all a bunch of time. I was going to talk about a few legal issues, but I'll just merely say that I concur fully with Bob Taylor's March 7th, 2012 memorandum to you, especially the last two paragraphs, which deal with many of the arguments that some of the opponents to this project will present today. Unless you have any questions, I'll stop there.
Maybe later.
Thank you.
All right, Ben, and then Krista Moyes.
Good morning. My name is Ben Laparn, and my wife and I are full-time residents of the Refuge community. We own 2 homes there in the Refuge, and we are also members of the Refuge Golf and Country Club. We are both in support of the RV plan as proposed, and we respectfully hope that you will approve it. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Okay, Krista, Monica Ball next.
My name is Krista Moyes. I've lived in the Refuge since 2005. My husband and I highly oppose this project and hope that you will vote that way. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you. Rhonda Cook, or Rondi?
Hello, Chairman Flouché and members. Wow, so many things to say. But I won't. I will just ask that you recommend denial for this project. You guys know that this is not ethical. It won't end up being legal. Anyone who tries to think that we should be fine with having an RV park on an Arnold Palmer signature golf course is not thinking clearly. So that's about all that I have to say, and I'll give the rest of my time to our attorney, Paul Gilbert.
Oh, Monica, could you come back and state your name, please?
Monica Ball, Refuge resident. We've owned in Mohave County, Lake Havasu for 10 years.
Thank you. Any questions? No. John Ball? Mr. Cook, you can come up now.
My name's Randy Cook. I'm a 30-year Mohave County resident and also fourth-generation Arizonan. I look at everything from the stand of what is good for Mohave County. I have a very much vested interest in this, and also if it's legal. That's the only thing, 2 questions I asked about this project. I believe it is legal with Robert Taylor's advice, and then I also know that Jerry and Cindy do absolute great projects, and I think it is going to be very beneficial for the county, so I'm strongly for the approval of this project. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. Toby Orr, or Tom? Yeah, Toby, no. Yeah.
I'm John Ball. I am the president of the Refuge Community Homeowners Association, and I would like it to be known by the commission that at least 2/3 of the voting members of the Refuge Community Homeowners Association are opposed to the RV plan, and that the Refuge Community Homeowners Association Board of Directors is 100% unanimously opposed to the RV plan. Also, the roads within the refuge development are owned by the Refuge Community Homeowners Association, and those roads will not be available. The Homeowners Association will not grant irrevocable access to the golf course owner. And just a small note, I've been told that there's only 34 members currently of that golf course because of the destruction of the golf course and the uncertainty about further destruction with the addition of RVs. Thank you.
Any questions of the speaker?
I have a question. We're just here for about land use. And my question to you to be, what's your plan? You're opposed to any growth. What's your plan?
My plan would be for the golf course to remain a golf course in its original configuration. And if the Aldridges cannot successfully operate that golf course, then it could be sold to another operator.
Thank you.
My name is Toby Orr. I'm a local building contractor and also a board member of the Lake Havasu Partnership for Economic Development. I came here to express that I am in favor of this development. I've worked with the Aldridges over the years, and I know that everything they do is first class, and this would be something that Mohave County could be very proud of. I'd also like to say that it's unfortunate that we have to call this an RV park. That's really not the right terminology. I think a more appropriate terminology would be a location for high-end motor coaches. Jerry's target market is the high-end market for motor coaches, and being a destination from the entire United States. So I think when this project is finished, all of the fears will be unfounded. I think the land values will go up, and I think there will be no regrets for those of you that vote in favor of it. Thank you.
Paul Gilbert? Actually, I have two other speakers, Chris Cooley and Chuck Denny, but they have the same item marked twice, so I assume they want to speak on 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Paul Gilbert, 4800 North Scottsdale Road, Scottsdale, Arizona. I represent the Refuge Homeowners Association. Mr. Chairman, I need to declare at the outset I will need more than 2 minutes.
Yes, go ahead.
There are plenty of people here who can give me time if that becomes necessary. As we begin this process of reasoning together, I want to focus on a very important fact. Based on the number of speakers, one could easily make the erroneous conclusion that the majority of the refuge is in support of this application. That is expressly not the case. That's why I'm here. I represent the association, and as our president made clear to you, 2/3 of the association are adamantly opposed to this project. So don't labor under the false misimpression that the refuge is in support, or the majority of the residents of the refuge support this proposal for an RV park. That is expressly not the case. We're here to speak in vigorous opposition to both the application for the site plan and, importantly, because there's been no focus on this thus far, against the 4 exceptions. I'll elaborate on this in more detail, but even if your county attorney is correct, a proposition which I will challenge in my presentation to you, that you have no discretion to not approve this project, but you clearly have, and that's in the memo to you from the county attorney, you have the discretion to not approve the 4 exceptions, and that's specifically within your purview and also in the memorandum to you from the county attorney. We will develop in more fulsome manner later in the presentation why these exceptions should not be approved. Having said that, we're here because the refuge was developed with an integral Arnold Palmer signature golf course as its centerpiece. Now, we're being asked to have, out in the middle of the golf course, 107 recreational vehicles. Can that possibly, under any circumstances, be considered good planning or compatible with what's been approved? How would you feel if you were among the many people in the refuge that bought a lot and built a home based on the fact that that golf course was there. It had been sold to you on the premise that it would be an Arnold Palmer golf course, which it won't be anymore after this, when and if this RV park goes in. And how would you feel when suddenly you would have an RV park behind you when you had paid a premium for the lot to have a golf course without an RV park there? We will develop more fully in just a moment the fact that this was a concern of the county early on in the process, and steps were taken to prevent the very thing that is happening here today with this proposal. Both the language of the plat, the subdivision plat itself, and the resolutions attendant thereto that approve the subdivision make it clear that no other uses were intended. In fact, there was a concerted effort to ensure that the golf course would always be there. There's a letter from Carl Taylor, one of the planners. Sorry, my assistant's a little bashful here. We'll work on it, you know. That's a little hard to read, but let me read that for you. This is a letter that came from Carl Taylor of the Planning Department to the developer in the process of finalizing this plat. And that letter says, item 15, this is dated September the 28th, 2000, a conservation easement for the golf course should be established to ensure the durability of this feature of the subdivision. Please forward a draft proposal of this document for review. That isn't us. That is the county asking the developer for a commitment that there's going to be a conservation easement. Well, what happened? Unfortunately, the conservation easement didn't take place. We wondered why. So we interviewed the developer of the refuge in response to that, and the developer has given an affidavit, which has been submitted in the court case, that said, in essence, we didn't want to give a conservation easement, so as the trade-off for not giving the conservation easement, we agreed to language on the plat that said the uses will be limited to the purposes shown. I guarantee you there was no recreational vehicle park shown on that plat. That was the trade-off. The county accepted that. The developer accepted that. The developer, the original developer, always understood that there was never going to be an RV park in the middle of this golf course. We submit that that is a restriction that is on the golf course now. The county took a stand at that time. When the plat was approved, the county should not abandon that restriction that's on the plat now. And because of that restriction, you do have the authority to turn this request for a recreational vehicle park in the middle of a signature Arnold Palmer golf course. And you should not abandon the very concerns the planning staff had and the developer incidentally had when this plat was originally approved. Furthermore, and our second point on this, and this is right out of your ordinance, you don't need me to tell you that this RV park is incompatible with the golf course. How many RV parks do you know of that are in the middle of a golf course that came after the people bought and paid a premium for a lot on the golf course? Well, your ordinance contemplates this very thing. I'm reading from section 27P of the Mohave County zoning ordinance, and it states, and this is the criteria that you are required to use in approving a site plan. 27P, it says, I'm sorry, I wasn't as familiar with your exhibits here.
Oh, yeah, just lay them on the thing, and the
Yeah.
camera, he'll move it around.
All right, I don't know if you can read these or not. I can't read them up on that thing.
He can blow
but-
it up.
All right, well, I'm going to read it. It says, P1, site plan conditions. Prior to the issuance of any building permits for non-residential use, go on and on, a site plan shall be approved. All right? That's standard. That's why we're here. Then, importantly, please focus on these words. A site plan shall be approved that demonstrates that the use, one, will be served by adequate public facilities. This isn't. We're going to challenge that in a moment. But more importantly, two, is compatible with adjoining uses. Is compatible with adjoining uses. I'm going to put that back up there, ask you to reference Section P of the ordinance, and I ask you, is this mobile home, this RV park, compatible with the existing uses? Now, I'm going to talk about this also a little later in my presentation, but exhibit number 1 is, what an irony. What do the residents that live in the refuge are required to do, as Mr. Miller, who spoke to you earlier, with their own RVs? You know what? They're not allowed to park them inside the refuge. They can't park them in the streets. They can't park them in their own driveways. It's restricted. They have to park their RVs away from their lot at a special designated RV facility. They can't bring them onto the refuge. Now, what an irony that if you approve this site plan today, you are going to give a privilege to people that aren't even members of the Refuge Community Association the right to bring our vehicles on the premises, on the golf course, and park them, when those that live on the facility aren't even entitled to do that. Is this, I ask the question again, more than rhetorically, is this compatible with the existing subdivision? It is clearly not. RV parks are not compatible with custom homes. They have a noise impact. They increase the traffic. We have a gated community. This just takes the gated community and derogates completely from the whole concept of a gated community and the security when our vehicles can come in and come and go. Remember, these aren't long-term residents. They can come and go as they please. Generators on the RV presumably can be going all hours. Perhaps we will be regaled with some statement by the developer, well, we'll put some restrictions on them. There are none now in the approvals that are submitted to you. The security of living in a gated community is completely abandoned and emasculated if this were to be approved. When strangers are within their rights to bring an RV and park it on the golf course, when our residents can't even bring them in and park them in their driveways, you can't say that this is compatible with the existing approved subdivision. The loss in property values is axiomatic. I'm not going to dwell on that. You've heard testimony. I agree with one of the commissioners who made the, I think, fairly trenchant comment earlier. We're not here to talk about taxes. We're not here to talk about improvements. We're not here to talk about business development. We're here to talk about land use.
Okay. Paul, let's, because I'm going to have some other people come up after you're done, okay. So let's, like 4 minutes, finish up anything you've got to do, and then we'll probably call you back. but I want to get some other people because I'm sure they've got things that
Okay,
they'd like to interject.
I've got a lot more I'd like to say, and
understand.
I'll try to condense it.
Well,
I'm
maybe members of the commission will have some questions and they can get those answered.
Okay.
I just don't
I
know.
will reduce my presentation. Let me just hit a couple of other high points.
Okay.
Our second point is that there is no legal access for the recreational vehicle park. Who owns the roads? The roads are owned by the association. The association is not given permission. Now, I'm the first to tell you this has been challenged in court. There is a temporary restraining order that was granted to allow access for the swimming pool. That's all that was proposed at the time. The rec vehicle park was not. So when we had the court case and the temporary restraining order was issued, it was limited to that thing. But focus on what is a temporary restraining order. It's temporary. Both sides have filed with the court motions for summary judgment to resolve this issue. The court has said there are questions of fact. We're not going to resolve this issue on motions, and therefore we have a court hearing date and maybe a trial that follows. The developer tried to make the TRO a permanent TRO, and the judge turned that down and left it as a temporary restraining order. Now, let's come back to what the law is. The law says you've got to have permanent access. There is no permanent or established access for this park. Much more can be developed there. I'm going to go on to the next point. Just quickly, when the subdivision was approved, there was a specific provision that it couldn't be further subdivided. That's really, in essence, what's happening here by having 107 spaces. Now they're leased, so they're going to argue that it's not subdivided, but that's not congruent with what was intended by that stipulation regulation. Quickly to the exceptions. We take umbrage with two of the exceptions. Now remember, the exceptions are different. There is a specific burden on the exceptions. They have to establish three things for you to approve their four exceptions. Don't mean to be pedantic, but just very quickly, there has to be special circumstances that affect the property, that can't be injurious to other property in the area, and it can't nullify the purpose of the general plan or zoning ordinance. I don't have time to develop these given the constraints, Mr. Chairman, you've placed on me, but I will say they are not being satisfied here. I'll just take one of them. They've asked to have the screening, an exception to the screening requirement. Their predicate justification for that is that it's 500 feet away from a house. What they don't tell you is that the screening, or that the RV park, is on both sides of the main entrance to the refuge. So you go by that RV park, every homeowner, as it enters the refuge. To not have screening just violates common sense and the purpose of the screening ordinance. It's on the main drive. To allow them this exception doesn't satisfy any of the requirements that are required to make the exception. The same apply to the others. I've worn my welcome out. I apologize. I'm a lawyer. You got to forgive me. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman, I have
Yes.
a couple quick questions. The current board is composed of 5 members, is that correct?
I'm not sure. How many, John?
5 members?
5
and
members.
What's the current total membership of the association?
I'm sorry, may I bring the president up here? I don't know the answer to some of these
That'll be
questions.
fine.
John, you want to come up?
John Ball, Refuge. There's approximately 350 members of the Association.
And you state that 2/3 of those are opposed, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how was that vote taken?
That was, of the voting members, they voted,
Okay, so there's not 350 voting members?
there's 350 members who have the ability to vote, approximately, in any election. And in the last election, which was held approximately a month and a half ago, 2/3 of the voters who voted in that election elected members to the board who were formally opposed to the RV plan, and a statement went out to all the voters by those candidates that stated that they were opposed to the RV plan, and they were elected, those two members.
Okay, thank you.
So that doesn't really answer your question,
No.
does it? So let's get back to the answering the question. Of the 350 members, how did you come up with your 2/3? Is that your question, Jack?
Voting members.
Yes.
2/3 of the voting members.
Which was?
How many people voted?
People voted.
Judge Judy would never allow that look.
Yeah, that's right.
That's way too vague of a look right there.
Well, I'm trying to give you an accurate answer. I believe it's around 225 votes. 289 from the audience.
Thank you.
Okay, and no, it wasn't from this audience.
He's got a calculator.
We have nothing concise now.
I don't care, it doesn't make any difference.
Let's say it's over 200.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Right.
All right.
Okay.
Any other additional questions?
No.
Okay. Any questions, more of Paul Gilbert at this time? I think, and this is, will be Jerry's call. I'd like to either have Jerry or Daniel come back up here and spend a little bit more time explaining some of the differences that we're getting about access and all that sort of stuff.
Jerry Aldrich. Regarding access specifically, prior to our purchase of the property, we identified and through our due diligence to make sure that there were easements over the property. The commercial gate that is the entrance to the clubhouse has been for the last 10 years, has always admitted all types of motor vehicle traffic, construction traffic, recreation vehicles. There's a 10-year history of the Refuge Homeowners Association maintaining RV parking and encouraging owners of residents inside the refuge to park their motorhomes in a 2-acre parcel that is specifically for RV parking, that it is maintained and encouraged that the folks that own RVs there park in this area because most of the garages will not accept a motorhome. The driveways are not large enough for a motorhome to exist. So the original developer made sure that there was sufficient space for people to park their recreation vehicles. With regard to easements, we have in the CCNRs numerous locations in the CCNRs that specifically say that the CCNRs were written to benefit the golf course owner and that the golf course owner has easements over all the roads, not just the road to the clubhouse, but all the roads. And there's a 10-year history of recreation vehicles not being restricted from these roads. These roads are also access for us for, in the CCNRs, construction equipment, the purveyors that provide the services to the clubhouse. When the Homeowners Association deemed it intelligent to block a cement truck from being able to put in the concrete for a swimming pool, they deemed that it was only a golf course, and the golf course cannot have a swimming pool. And Judge Gertler, after laughing at that, he signed a restraining order the same day and said, you cannot restrict any kind of construction traffic. And I believe you probably have already looked at some of the easement information, but I'll let Dan Barr explain that portion.
Thank you. I'll be brief, but of course, if you had any questions, please interrupt me. Mr. Gilbert has not been involved in the litigation, so I will excuse the misstatements as not being fully informed.
Like what?
Well, for instance, to say that this is just a temporary restraining order, lasts for only 10 days. This injunction has been in place for a year and a half. To categorize it as applying only to the swimming pool, when the word swimming pool is not even mentioned in the injunction, and the Judge Gertler's order states fully the provisions of the CC&Rs that give broad easements to the golf course owner and the developer over the association roads, is simply a misstatement. And Mr. Taylor can go through that order with you. In fact, a few weeks ago, before the Board of Adjustment in Lake Havasu, we had one of the current board members make that assertion that the injunction applied only to people using the swimming pool, and Mr. Taylor cross-examined him, and the person admitted that, yes, indeed, the injunction doesn't even mention the swimming pool. Nor that we hear this claim about Arnold Palmer and all of that. There are no documents stating that the Arnold Palmer golf course could never be changed. There are none whatsoever. Indeed, the CC&Rs expressly state, and Mr. Taylor can again point you to Judge Gertler's order interpreting the CC&Rs, that the golf course can be changed and that the developer has wide discretion on what to do. But that's not the issue here today. Again, I come back to Mr. Taylor's two-page memo to the board. What the board is concerned about are zoning issues. The disputes over what the CC&Rs mean, these claims of oral promises that the homeowners association has made, which have all been unsuccessful to date in a year and a half of litigation. That's for the court to decide. Now, if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
We still got 2 lawsuits pending, is that?
That we have, they're essentially been merged now. Okay. The first lawsuit, which I'll call...
I don't want to exclude any topic in this so that everybody doesn't come back and say, well, you didn't cover this.
Sure. Let me talk about, would you like to know about the 2 lawsuits?
I think it would be very interesting.
Sure. The first lawsuit, which I'll call the thinnest lawsuit, was filed by several homeowners. The Balls, who have spoken here, are among those people. They claimed that there were promises, oral promises essentially made, saying that the Arnold Palmer golf course could never be changed. Now, their theories have changed over time, and I won't go through all of that. But essentially, they said that the Arnold Palmer golf course could never be changed. You've heard some of that presentation made today. There are no documents to support that claim. They come up with a bunch of marketing materials. They don't really address the fact that the golf course property has been zoned CR3 since the beginning, which includes RV parks, motels, and the like. They run away from that issue. They also run away from what the CC&Rs state, which is that has an integration clause, as most contracts do, saying that you can only rely on the statements that are made in the CC&Rs. Any oral representations, whatever they may be, you cannot rely on.
We don't care what the CC&Rs
I
say.
know. But I'm just saying that's what the first suit is. The second lawsuit, as Mr. Aldridge referred to, occurred when the homeowners association thought that they could take it upon themselves to block access to the refuge. You've heard several of them today say, we haven't given approval for people to use our roads. Well, that simply isn't true. the CCNRs expressly give such easements several different times, and that's the contract between the homeowners and the golf course owner and the developer here. So that simply isn't true, and so we litigated that issue. The homeowners physically blocked the roads, and we had to go to Judge Gertler and get a restraining order to prevent them from doing that. That order has now been in place for a year and a half, and now the two cases have become merged, and that's what's at stake here. I could go on for more about it, but that's basically what the lawsuits are.
Okay. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to get Paul Gilbert to come up here and just give his version of what's going on there.
Dan is correct. I am not the lawyer handling the litigation, but to say I'm not familiar with the litigation is a misstatement. I've been part and parcel of the documents. I'm very familiar with it. Let's clear up one thing right now. First of all, when he says there is an easement for golf course purposes, or I'm sorry, there is an easement, and I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I didn't talk about the CCNRs. They're not relevant. In fact, the very Board of Adjustment that was referenced here made the finding we're not going to get into the CCNRs. That's for the court to decide. But the fact is, the golf course is not subject to the CCNRs. So that's a general disclaimer. But more importantly, the easements that they're talking about are easements for golf course purposes. Our RV park is not golf course purposes. They've moved for summary judgment. The judge wouldn't grant it. Frankly, we did too. So that issue is open. So there is not established that there's access here. They have the burden of proving to you that they have permanent access. Now, that was a real misstatement, with all due respect, that Mr. Barr made when he said that it is not a TRO. Let me read you from the court's order. And by the way, Judge Gertler isn't even the judge on this case anymore. It's a new judge who's done some different rulings, and it's gone further down the road. Let me read you his latest order, June 16th at 2011. And I quote, I'm reading from the order now. The court has also reviewed the request, this is by Aldrich, to make the temporary restraining order permanent. It is ordered continuing the temporary restraining order. It isn't made permanent. He continued it on a temporary basis. That does not give permanent access. We own the roads. They have the burden of showing that they have access. We also disagree that there are no documents that show that the golf course must remain and cannot be used as an RV vehicle park. I am not going to go into that because I think it's the prerogative of the court to decide that, but I have to disagree because that statement's inaccurate. There are documents, we've submitted them, and the court is considering them. The reference to the fact that RVs have been permitted for 10 years, RVs have, we do have, and I made that very point. I think it vindicates the point I'm trying to make here today. We have to put the RVs over in a special place away from the homes so they can't be seen. That's what we're required to do. So when he says, well, we've always allowed RVs, we haven't allowed them. We've never allowed them. The CCNRs, pardon me for referencing that again, Mr. Chairman, CCNRs prohibit them. You got to park them over in this special place. They now are trying to violate that. So the court has not made the determination here that Mr. Barr would lead you to believe. Now, I could go on and make some of my other points that I
That's
didn't
fine,
make
that's
before,
fine.
but I don't
I
want to.
just wanted to give you.
Don't want to abuse the privilege.
No, I just wanted to get another side of the lawsuit stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of anybody right now? Everybody understand the 4 exceptions that we're talking about? Or do you want someone to read it and explain it, just to be sure? Okay? Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to come back. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Maybe 10. I'd like to bring the meeting back to order, please. I just have a couple of questions here and directed at the Mr. Taylor. And we brought up this several times, or it's been brought up, the legal access to the site from parcel F and G. Is that the legal access is that through that corner piece of property, or is that through Arnold Palmer Road? Without me taking the time to look.
Chairman Felicia and members of the commission, legal access is defined under our zoning ordinance as either a publicly dedicated right-of-way or an easement. What was presented to us across those parcels, and perhaps the Ms. Ballard can correct me if I'm wrong, is the easement that was presented to the planning and zoning staff. That is and usually when reviewing an easement, the department looks at what is granted, and the language granting that particular easement was in the department's view fairly broad and consistent with the types of easements that have been presented for similar requests for RV parks and things like that in the past. There's also one of the things that was considered by the department, there's also the availability for the RV park to establish an easement across property that is individually owned by the golf course owner. So in the department's view, there is an easement that is consistent with the types of easements that have been presented in the past and approved. And there is also should that easement fail through the litigation, there's the availability for the park owner to establish access across its own property.
Okay, so back to my original question, which parcel are we talking about? They're talking about F and, I lost it now. F and G, I believe, we just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. Which is the, here we go. Okay, it'd be through parcel G then.
Perhaps Mr. Montgomery could provide.
Yeah, I found the site map here. It says parcel G, which is just outside the refuge boundary, if you will. All right, that's good. Well, any additional questions or comments? Okay, I will. And we have no more speakers, so I would like to, if we have no comments or questions, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for item number 7. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. That will come back to the Board of Supervisors and as I said earlier, on May 7th. So, item number 8.
Item 8 is an evaluation of a request for renewal of a zoning use permit on Assessor's Parcel 209-17008 for a domestic animal rescue and sanctuary in an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone in the Eds Camp vicinity.
Oh, see, thought you went home.
Staff recommends approval of the zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. The applicant has actually requested a renewal for a 3-year period. Our standard that we bring to the commission mostly is 2-year period. Staff has no objection to a 3-year renewal on this based on the track record of this applicant. And so if you are inclined to do so, then the date in condition 1 would be adjusted accordingly. Thank you.
Okay. Is the applicant present on item number 8? Okay, would you like to address the commission? Please state your name.
My name is Sharita Lynn, and I'm the founder and president of For the Love of Paws Rescue. And we've been in business we're in our 8th year. And I guess I'm just up here if you have any questions. There's been a lot of brouhaha about rescues and things, so I thought maybe you might have some questions.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on the model sanctuary that you have. I had the opportunity to look at it. I hope all the sanctuaries in Mohave County would follow you as the model. How many animals do you have right now?
Right now, we're at the 60 dogs, right at our capacity, and 100 and about 15 cats.
And my understanding is that you have like a regular schedule vets, that come and visit the sanctuary, and then you do have like the adoption program, right?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't hear you.
I said you do have the doctors, the vets that they come and visit, the veterinarians, they come and visit this sanctuary all the time.
The vets are out twice a year for rabies shots and just general checkups on the dogs.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you're Sherry?
I'm Cherie, yes.
Okay, Sherry. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Jim
Okay.
Canellis?
That's it?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Jim Canellis. I live in the central Sacramento Valley on Open Road. I've been to their facility on a couple of different occasions. I believe they're good neighbors. I would ask you to support this, and I applaud them also. It's a great thing they're doing. Thank you.
Any questions or comments of the speaker? All right. Any questions or comments of the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Item number 8. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, item number 9.
Item 9 is an evaluation of request for zoning use permit on Assessor's Parcel 253-19023 for a secondary residence in an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone in the Windmill Ranch vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Yes.
Is the applicant present for number 9? Would you like to address the commission? Okay. Well, thank you for your honesty.
Are that is scary?
All right, the applicant wishes not to speak. We have no other speakers on item number 9. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Okay,
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 9. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Number 10.
Item 10 is an evaluation of a request for zoning use permit on Assessor's Parcel number 21021-013 for an electric distribution substation in an AR agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone in the Golden Shores vicinity. Staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report. There is one letter of objection on this item. Thank you.
Is the applicant present?
Yes, I'm prepared to answer your question.
Okay. Any questions? We have no speakers on the item. Any questions of the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Please come up and state your name.
I'm John Williams, Engineering Supervisor for Mohave Electric Cooperative.
John, I just want to ask, looking at the map there, I mean, you've got the whole quarter section here, so you're approximately, this site is gonna be approximately about a half mile from the nearest residence, is that correct?
Yeah, about 4/10 of a mile, I believe.
Okay. And we've got the view screening in the recommendation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Azami, you had a question?
Jack beat me to the question.
Okay, all right. What road is this on?
It's County Road 1. I believe it used to be the old Highway 95 in the
How
county.
close is this to Calpine?
Calpine.
South Point.
This is right by, it's within 4/10 of a mile of the main intersection of the Golden Shores town, I guess. It's probably 4.5 to 5 miles from Calpine.
Okay, so you're north of Golden Shores?
Yeah, just north of Golden Shores, about 4/10 of a mile.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. No questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Item number 11.
Item 11 is an evaluation of a request for a zoning use permit on assessor's parcel number 326-02157B for a 12,000-gallon above fuel storage tank and a propane dispensing tank in a C2H general commercial highway frontage zone in the Dolan Springs vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. I believe there's one letter in support. Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant here for item number 11? Okay, do you have anything you want to say? No, okay. The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second for item number 11. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12A.
Item 12A is an evaluation of a request for an extension of time for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 318-08014 to allow completion of the site plan review and permits on both sides of Diamond Bar Road, approximately 5 miles east of Pierce Ferry Road. This will be a third extension on the basis of the extension of time policy. Staff is offering options for approval of an extension or denial as the commission may determine. We do have a site plan that has been submitted for review, so we're getting close on this one. Thank you.
The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Would the applicant like to address the commission?
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent in this issue. I did process the original request for this a few years back. The financial issues of the economy the last few years has hindered this. The owner has definitely rallied the past year and has purchased a new fleet of helicopters, of which the first few are just coming in right now. There are 7. Those are at $4 million each. He has a huge investment in this area. He has a working ranch that employs 38 full-time people out there. He's been out there 10 years. He is clearly the major employer in Mohave County up in that area. We did submit a site plan. I did just receive comments to that site plan just this morning. As a matter of fact, we have engineers and surveyors on it. We intend to complete it. I ask your support in this extension of time, and we'll get it wrapped up very shortly.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Kathy, do you think that this time extension is enough with this economy that we have, April of 2013?
We are in the process right now of getting the permits right now. We've just ordered the museum building. We have everything is staked for the helipads, and so my entire push for this is to quickly get the permits, and I've been working with staff for the last month and a half to do that. Unfortunately, the site plan submittal was so late because we were late in getting our topo and everything else, so it's clearly our issue, but 1 year is more than enough, and we hope to have people using this in the next 30 to 60 days.
All right, very good, I appreciate that. And when are the commissioners going to get the helicopter ride?
Yeah.
Just call me.
Just call me. Isn't there a song like that?
Right, right.
Any questions or of the applicant? Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right, we have no questions. There are no speakers. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Option one.
Option one. Can I
I'll
include-
second that.
Can I include the helicopter
Okay,
ride?
we all on agreement here now?
Yes, we are.
Option one, okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for item number 12A. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
I was going to include the helicopter ride, but I guess they said I
Yeah,
can't.
that's probably not appropriate. 12B.
Item 12B is an evaluation of request for zoning use permit on assessor's parcel number 318-08014 for a runway and additional helicopter landing pads in the proposed CRE, Commercial Recreation Zone, on both sides of Diamond Bar Road, approximately 5 miles east of Pierce Ferry Road. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report, and this is probably a more appropriate item for the helicopter rides.
You want to go on? Is that what- okay.
Well, take
Thank
a
you.
number.
All right, thank you. The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for item 12B.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve item 12B. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 13.
Yes, item 13, evaluation of request for a recreational vehicle park plan and petitions of exception for the Wallapai Mountain Recreational Vehicle Park, assessor parcel number 204-26-034, lying along the Wallapai Mountain Road in the Pine Lake vicinity, northerly of Wallapai Mountain Road and east of Wallapai Mountain Rangers Station in the Mohave County General Area, Mohave County, Arizona. We have 4 petitions of exception for this RV park. The park is owned by the county. It's been applied for by the county as well for our Parks Department. Staff recommendations. Staff recommends approval based upon the review of Section 27J of the Mohave County zoning ordinance. County staff and other reviewing agencies recommends approval of the recreational vehicle park plan, subject to the following conditions as outlined herein. Thank you.
All right. Is the applicant present for item 13? Okay. Oh, sorry. I should have looked closer on that. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second. We have a motion and a second for approval of item 13. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. That actually concludes our regular agenda. Do we want to break for lunch and then come back? Chris, what do you want?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I believe you still have item number 14, which
Oh.
is the call to the public.
Oh,
item.
that's right. I thought we were going to do that when we came back. All right. Item number 14, which is the call to the public. Okay. Well, let's have our speakers speak, and then we'll go from there. John Mays. and then Elizabeth Barnett.
Good afternoon. I believe we just passed noon. So my name is John Hayes. I am a full-time resident of Desert Hills, and I am here to ask you to please reintroduce the call to the public. I feel it's very important. It's a way for the citizens to communicate with the boards. I hope that the supervisors do this also. It's a mechanism for the people to communicate. I know that sometimes we can sign up to speak specifically to agenda items, but sometimes people just have information that they want to get out that's not on the agenda. Also, sometimes it seems that when people sign up, some of their sign-up papers get lost. So I would urge you to support this. I think it makes for a more transparent government, for boards, for government entities, and I would really like to see reinstalled or reinstituted. Thank you.
Let me clarify just a couple of things. You know, we're volunteers and we're not elected. You understand
Yes,
that?
I understand that. I was a volunteer firefighter for 34 years.
The call to the public has got to do with land issues, not other issues.
But when people come to speak specifically to land use, they're going to come to you.
Yeah.
When they go for other things, they're going to talk to other departments. I would like to see you introduce it so that if people do have questions, perhaps they're sitting here and if something dawns on them during a meeting, at least that would be another avenue for them to pursue. So it's not directed, I believe you're doing a great job. It's not directed towards anybody specifically, but I think it's good government that the people can communicate with their government and all facets of their government. So, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Since you are in favor of that call to the public, if I may ask you a single item that you would bring and, use that call to the public, what would be that? What would that be?
Well, perhaps something was going on with zoning and it's not on the agenda. It would give me an opportunity to speak about it, or if I had some thought.
Give us a specific example.
Maybe there was some development coming up in my area and I was going to be out of the area when it was going to be heard. That would be an opportunity. And yes, I know I could email you and I would do that. If something came up suddenly and I wasn't aware of, it would just give me an opportunity to speak to you. And I think that, and again, it's not directed towards anybody on the board here, but I have relatives in Maricopa County, and I've been asked what's going on in Mohave County because people aren't allowed to speak. And that's not entirely true, but that's the perception that's going out there.
Well, no, that's not my question. My question is that, obviously you have thought about this, and
Yes.
most probably you have like a specific item that you would be able to bring to us as, call to public. What is the most important item that you would bring to us if we had that?
That I could communicate with you.
What are you going to communicate with us?
It would depend on the circumstances. I mean, who knows what tomorrow's going to be.
Circumstances on the agenda items?
Yes, and if somebody, they can speak on the agenda items also.
So you can sign up for it right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Elizabeth. Steve Robinson.
My name is Elizabeth Barnett. I live in Cedar Hills, which is about 20 miles east of Kingman. And when I was a member of the Highway 93 Area Plan Committee, Highway 93 Corridor Area Plan Committee, I came to a lot of meetings, and I heard people speak in the call to the public and also to the agenda items. I spoke to agenda items that were of interest to me, for instance, the Albiasa plant that they wanted to put in out there. But I also came to the call to the public to give you some overall information, such as why are we going to put in alternative energy things, plants like that 4-story high plant out in the Big Sandy Valley. They were not addressing specific items, but they were an overview. This was information that I thought you would need in order to make informed decisions. Some of you may have thought that was directly to an agenda item, but it wasn't. It was an overview, like ice ages and interglacial warming periods and that kind of thing. Also, other people need to come and give you information like, I don't know whether You have to do with the roads. Something, you have something to do with them.
No, we don't.
As far as they concern, well, okay, we'll leave that. What I would suggest, since your stated reason for stopping the call to the public was it took too much time, I disagreed with that because there was no more than 2 or 3, at the most 5 people, 2 minutes each, that's 10 minutes. That is not a high percentage of your meeting. I suggest that you have a 3-month trial period where your clerk keeps track of the amount of time that is used for the call to the public, and then make a decision after that. I strongly urge you to put it back in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Strongly. Steve, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chairman Fluchet and Commissioners. My name is Steve Robinson. I'm a resident of Golden Valley. I am also District 2 Director for the Republican Party, representing 70 precinct committeemen across this area. It's an area encompassing from Mohave Valley to Golden Valley, with the beautiful Bullhead City in between. In our district, we have about 67,000 citizens, about 16,000 Republicans, and 10,000 independents, also known as disgruntled Republicans. So I am here, and out of those 70 precincts, there's only 2 of whom have expressed objections to the call of the public, and that's the Supervisor Sockwell and his wife. So let me give you an example, Mr. Zomri, since you asked for one. There was a gentleman that's here today who was deeply impacted by actions of the Planning and Zoning Department based upon planning and zoning decisions made by the department or by the commission in the past. This gentleman was denied a renewal of his home office permit out in the middle of Golden Valley, which resulted in the loss of his appliance repair business. He was then forced to go to work for other appliance repair and HVAC people. At one of these job sites, he was up on top of the roof at Laughlin, and he had a sunstroke, which resulted in him contracting, and I think I'm speaking for about 4 other people that asked me to speak, so I was asking for about 5 minutes maximum.
2 minutes is really,
well,
well,
let me just say this.
You got 2 minutes. Speak for yourself.
Every other county in the state and the 3 cities in Mohave, major cities in Mohave County, have a call to the public for the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's you might oppose it for practical reasons, but let me tell you about one major reason on principle. That is the principle that our Declaration did give us the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And then what is more impactful on those rights guaranteed to us but land and use zoning planning decisions? In the First Amendment, it talks in the last 2 clauses, it gives 2 important things that are guaranteed by the First Amendment. One, the right of the people to peaceably assemble, as we've seen here today. And 2, to petition their government for a redress of grievances. That's what the call to the public is. And if every other county in the state and the 3 major cities, then what you're saying by having eliminated it here is that you're denying 75,000 citizens across the rural parts of our county the right to speak. And we have 3 members of the Planning and Zoning Commission that are running for office. We have 2 others that voted against it. And I think if they have the platform, just shut up and vote for me, that's not a very good platform to run on. Thank you.
Lewis?
I am giving my time to Steve to speak. You're denying it? May I speak then?
Yes, that's why I called your name.
Deny?
This isn't a court or anything where you give people time. You're allotted 2 minutes, and
political.
And we're already into political stuff, and that's...
Okay, I'm going to make mine simple. We were told out front when we signed that we could do this minute switch, but we can't.
State your name, please.
Louis Tranka, I live in Golden Valley. I've had planning and zoning problems, but what I want to bring forward to you is, yes, you're volunteers, but you also represent the people. If we can't speak to you freely and maybe have you look into a problem or direct us where to find the answer, then what's the sense? We don't need to. All right? So the whole purpose of getting it is so people can come in, speak to you, and you can guide us to go find the correct answers before we end up in courts, where I ended up planning and zoning and Steve was talking about. And I lost my home at the end.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question. Excuse me?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you explain the scope of our work?
Pardon?
Could you explain the scope of commissioners' work?
The commissioners are appointed from the supervisors by you guys volunteering, but we can't always get an answer from the supervisor because they're busier than you are, but they don't involve themselves with land use until after you guys approve it. What we'd like to do is be able to contact you people or bring up a subject that's affecting a lot of people in the area and see if you guys could look into it or direct us to who in the planning and zoning we should go see.
Okay. Could you be patient enough so Mr. Taylor can explain the scope of work in hopefully 1 or 2 sentences?
Yeah, you can. I'll listen. I tried that. I lost.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, could you, for the sake of the public, in a short version, explain the scope of work that we have, please?
The planning, Commissioner Azami, and members of the commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission is an advisory body to the Board of Supervisors. It is charged with the responsibility to aid the Board of Supervisors in an advisory capacity regarding the development of land within the county's jurisdiction. It's to follow the general plan, the zoning ordinance, and make recommendations on land use decisions. Its primary function is to provide a forum for parties that are requesting a change in land use designation, a change in the general plan, an amendment to the general plan, applying for a permit, a zoning use permit, or a review of a site plan, a subdivision plat, or, as we've seen today, an RV park plan. It's to provide a forum for those parties to present their request and their plan for the commission to review it and make a recommendation based on that to the board. The commission does not have any general legislative authority. You can't pass legislation. You can propose legislation to the board, but it would be limited to land use legislation. That's just sort of a nutshell explanation.
Mr. Chairman, so if my understanding is that, we have a land use ordinance and we have some items on the agenda, those items has to be matched with the land use ordinance, and if we see a match, we make the recommendation.
Right, your recommendation to the board is based on the provisions of the land use ordinance, the subdivision regulations, and the general plan.
That's right.
Each party that requests a change in the general plan, a rezoning of property, a review of a site plan or a request for permit, they have a procedural due process right to have a forum to present that request, and your primary function is to review those requests and make a recommendation.
Thank you.
Continuing on with our request to speak, Jim Consolato.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is James Consolato. I wasn't going to speak in front of the board today. I gave my time to Mr. Steve Robinson. However, since you have not allowed him to speak on my behalf, I will just say that simply stated, a call to the public for the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as the Board of Supervisors, is something that is necessary for transparency in our government. You could say it's hearsay, but there is a great deal of suspicion and lack of trust And so I would urge this commission to do whatever is possible to make the government transparent and to facilitate the citizens' right to speak to you and help you make your decisions. Thank you for your time.
I've got a couple of things here. I think the Planning and Zoning Commission is very transparent about everything that we do, so I'm really confused with your comment that you made there, but I'll kind of let that go. But people have the opportunity to come and speak to the commission on any item that's on the agenda. 99% of the time, things that are not on the agenda that we've had called the public had nothing to do with land use items. So I just want to make sure that, I've never seen you come to call the public.
That's very true. This is my first P&Z County meeting. However, I've been very interested in what takes place here. And I'm just giving you my recommendation as a concerned citizen to do whatever is possible to increase the transparency if in fact the P&Z is already transparent. And again, thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could you explain to us how we could be more transparent?
By approving and reinstating the call to the public.
No, I mean, well, that's a general statement. I'm saying that, how would you, what provisions do you see that we could be more transparent? As a P&Z Commission, I don't, Board of Supervisors is a different, situation. I'm talking about the P&Z Commission. How could we, understanding that there are some agenda items, there is a land use ordinance as it was explained by Mr. Taylor, how could we be more transparent in your eyes?
I don't have a specific example.
Thank you.
The only thing that does come to my mind is that there were a lot of rezoning and zoning requests that came before this commission regarding animal sanctuaries. It became a subject of county-wide controversy, and we needed more input. We needed more feedback from our Board of Supervisors, and perhaps, again, not standing here to tell you that you're not doing a good job, but standing here to tell you that a call to the public would only enhance the quality of your service to the public in Mohave County. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Brenda Frame and Jenny Kirch. Brenda Frame? She left, okay.
Jeannie Ketch?
Yeah, Jeannie? And then Mark Schaefer.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you, Chairman? My name is Jeannie Kench. I live in Crystal Beach. I've lived in the Lake Havasu area for 21 years. I'm here to talk about bringing back the call to the public. I am also the Secretary-Treasurer of the Desert Hills Fire District, and I have been very involved in the refuge that you just witnessed. I think that if we did have a call to the public, it wouldn't or possibly won't lead to a possible big court case. I think that if the people, when this all came about, were able to come to the planning and zoning and speak their piece of it and what they were concerned with, that it might not have gone on 2 years. Once you get 2 years into something, sometimes it's a little too late to turn back. And I think that if the homeowners or even Mr. Aldridge's side had the ability to come in and speak to you, he would have had 5 of you or 6 of you or 7 of you listen to the concerns, not just possibly the one public works person that they were working with. So I really feel that the call to the public is very important. As it had been stated, I think that it does lead to more transparency. Not that you don't have any, but it just the issue of not. I know that we at the fire department, at the fire district, we do have a call to the public. I have no idea what they're going to bring up. If they're going to bring up something, it could be something as simple as our insurance, or it could be anybody. What we're going to do for the next pancake breakfast. The fact is we give them that opportunity to ask those simple questions and possibly feel a little bit better. I just think that it would be beneficial to our planning and zoning to do that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions to ask you. Are you a candidate for the supervisor?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. And the other thing is, you mentioned about the board at the fire department.
Yes.
Those are elected officials, right?
Yes, sir.
People elect those people.
Yes,
So
I
they
was
can
elected.
they can make some decisions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know that the P&Z Commission, we are just making recommendations? We do not,
I
we are
do.
not, we are not elected officials?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so, basically, we are not legislative. We are basically listening to agenda item, we match it with the land use, we make a recommendation to the board. The board may accept our recommendation, may overturn it and go a different way, or do whatever they want to do.
Yes.
So we are basically different than your board that you were, making a parallel comparison. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Are we done?
No, Mark and then Jim Canellis.
My name is Mark Shaver, and I heard something very interesting, and I hope that you can answer me, and that is, I heard staff say that you have the ability not only to refer, but to make proposals. That's interesting. Can you give me an example of how that?
Mark, keep to, we're not answering questions here.
Oh, you're not answering questions. I'm sorry. I thought this was, we're talking about call to the public here for some reason. But I also heard here now that that Mr. Arzami was giving me a question as, how can you be more transparent? Well, when it comes to the issue of the general plan, I know a number of you participated in the TAC committee in the revision of that. One part of being transparent is to be vocal about that. And one example I would like to hear is, since I followed this process back in 2009 on call to the public, it was my understanding from the then chairman of the P&Z that several of you approached him on ways of making the meeting shorter, and one of those ways was to eliminate call to the public. I have the news article. Then last week, I heard that the real truth of removal of call to the public was that someone got offended because of all the name calling and inappropriate behavior of the public. Could you be a little bit more transparent and give us an example of what that was? I mean, I've reviewed all the tapes, news articles going back to 2009, and I have not seen anything that was more inappropriate or bad behavior when it came to call to the public. So be a little bit more transparent and tell us exactly what you mean. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim? And then Dave Calvi. I think I got that right.
My name's Jim Canellis. I live in the central Sacramento Valley. I spoke last month on the same item before it was tabled. At that time, I heard a couple of comments from the commissioners. One in regards to inappropriate actions. Yes, you had your feelings hurt, something to that effect. Well, we need to not be offensive to each other. We're all adults here. And to use a baseball analogy, you're taking the ball and the bat and calling the game because you got your feelings hurt, and now we don't get to play. Also, on the other item that was mentioned, that's slipping my mind at the moment, thank you, Jim, but the call to the public would allow me to stand up here and bring to this commission what I think would be maybe a good idea in land use. Might not be, but by me being able to do that, A member of the audience might hear it and say, oh yeah, Jim, that is a good idea. Or somebody on the TV screen watching at home might think the same thing. One of you may even say the same thing. And take it to staff and have it looked into. That's what it could be used for, and that's why we should be able to do that. Also, I'm an opponent of the First Amendment rights. I believe the call to the public is freedom of speech, and we have that right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Dave Calvi. I live in Lake Havasu City. I'm also a candidate for District 3, supervisor. I guess my biggest thing is that I believe that on every level of government, people should be heard. I do understand that you're not a legislative body. I guess what I want to say is it can't hurt to spend a couple minutes hearing what the public has to say. And if the Board of Supervisors doesn't open things up that are very important to people, doesn't open it up for agenda items to be spoken on because it wasn't part of the open process, they choose not to do that like they did on 10 days ago, then the people would like a place to speak somewhere. And I do understand, Mr. Azarmi, what you're saying. I do. And actually, I agree with you. Since you can't make the rules, and you are volunteers, there is a very logical logical argument that this is not the time and the place for it. But I think on every level of government, whether it's city council, here, board of supervisors, if you don't, not you particularly, but if the people are not heard, the people are going to get really upset. And that's where we are now. And I would like to see people able to express themselves, even if there's nothing that you can do as a governing body about it. At least they can be heard, and people really appreciate that. That's all I got to say.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
First of all, you just called us governing body. We are not governing body.
Right.
Okay. I need to correct that. The other thing, again, is since you're going to be running for a supervisor, and I'm sure you're hopeful to become one.
I am.
Again, since we are not legislative, to address us with the comments about the land use ordinance, how would that be able to be beneficial when the Board of Supervisors are available and they're legislative? So I think that should be addressed with them, not with this commission. That's my point. I'm not against, the First Amendment, the public and all that, the suggestions. Those suggestions can, there is an avenue to be able to send emails or suggestions, to the board, to the staff, and all that. What I'm saying is that, this commission, the scope of work of this commission is extremely limited. It is not legislative. It is basically reviewing an ordinance, land use ordinance, item on the agenda. If it matches, you just, that's my point. So I hope that, you're not taking it out of context that, I'm here against the public. We are, none of us on this commission are against the public. Actually, some of us, and I can vouch for Jack, for example, I know that he studies every item, he visits the site every time, and he's very knowledgeable. So, I mean, we are devoting our time voluntarily as a payback to the community to be able to just help. So it's not, we are not legislative, we are not elected officials. I just want to make sure you understand that. Other people too.
I completely understand it. I agree with you.
And we don't get paid.
Yeah.
Right. And if you did get paid and they had a recommendation and all you did was say, we recommend that to the board, then I'd say, what are you guys here for? But since you're not paid, I appreciate your time because you are doing something valuable.
There's a big misunderstanding about the commission and the scope of work and that we have here. Everybody thinks that we are legislative, including yourself. You just mentioned that you're the governing body. I know you're not. We are the governing body. We are not.
I know that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Before you leave, one other thing. I don't know if you've ever had an occasion to visit any of the county offices to ask any zoning questions, because I would be willing to bet the other people in this room probably haven't. Maybe one guy. We know when we talked about a general plan review with another speaker a minute ago, they had public meetings in all the cities. And in the Bullhead City meeting, I believe I was the only one there other than the county people. So every single item on our agenda is a public hearing. We do nothing in private. We don't even try. So call to the public to talk about the sky is pink. It doesn't go over. We don't care. The sky can be any color it wants. We have no control over that. We only have control over the agenda. And to bring something to us that maybe in 6 months from now would actually come to us, we have no control over that either. We have no idea until we get our packet what the county's doing. But what people seem to overlook now, and some candidates apparently, is the county employs people that are willing to help you 5 days a week. And nobody wants to go to them. They want to come here to vent, or they want to go to the Board of Supervisors to vent. You can actually go visit your supervisor. You can actually do that. They actually entertain people walking in the office and talking to them.
I visited with them.
Then you know that I'm telling the truth. I mean, they're there. And they're the elected officials. We're not. We do, I think, a heck of a job for people that volunteer our time. A couple of people, one of the guys today with the call to the public didn't even bother to show up. And we've got another lady that's driving a garbage truck today. But, you know, they have other lives, too, and we do volunteer our time.
I appreciate
But you've got to remember, the important thing to remember here is, as far as I'm concerned, and I think the members of the commission, you've got all these people at the county you can talk to, and you can get really good solutions. You won't get a solution from us. All we can do, if it's an agenda item, is recommend to the Board of Supervisors that an action be taken. That's all we do. We have no more action than that.
Yes, sir. If I could, just a couple seconds. I agree with all of you. My point is that people, for good or bad, they want to be heard on a scale that they can vent, and they know it's going to the top. You know, I would like that to go to the Board of Supervisors. And
that's what everybody's doing to us.
Yeah.
We're not the sounding board for the Board of Supervisors. You need to take this to the Board of Supervisors.
Which is what you're doing and you're doing.
No, that's not what we do at all. All we're doing, we have 13
candidates.
items that we made recommendations on. We're not going to call the supervisors and say, some guy from Havasu wants to have called to the public. That's your job. You're the public. You go do that. But we're here to take land use items only. So people that want to come here and vent about what the supervisors don't do or what their city council or their fire district doesn't do, you're coming to the wrong place. We'd love to help you. We just can't.
I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
All right.
May I speak just to one specific point?
All right, you got 1 minute.
Thank you. The one thing you did mention, that under the law, you can refer it to the Planning and Zoning Department to investigate it and ask them to report back to you the next meeting the results of their investigation. And I think that's an important issue, that when someone brings up a subject, you can at least ask the department to look at this issue on planning and zoning.
As a citizen, you can ask them. Why would you come to us?
It's on the record in a public meeting that it has been asked, and that's, I think, the crucial difference. And that's why all the other counties and cities do it, and I think that's my big point.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments?
Are we closed to do?
We're closed to public comment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As you can see, unfortunately, this call to the public is becoming like a political platform right now. And, you know, it's, well, that's my case. There are candidates here. And again, I'm thinking that, you know, if we are proceeding with this, I'm not against it. I'm not, you know, for it. I'm just saying that, you know, we are not basically being beneficial to the public if we are just, you know, opening this up. But between now and this election that we have, with number of candidates we have, this podium is going to be used for the political platform. So, you know, my recommendation to the commission is pretty soon we're going to have 5 supervisors. We're going to have 10 commissioners. I think that we should let them make that decision, because this is going to become a political platform for the next, I don't know how many months to the election. That's my opinion.
Okay, any other questions or any other comments, I should say? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for the reasons that I just said to postpone this discussion to January of 2013, when we have 5 supervisors and we have 10 commissioners at that time.
Second.
We have a motion to continue this item until the January 2013 meeting. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, so where are we at? We're okay. Okay, the motion approved. Monthly reports, any other comments from the commission? Okay. Okay, I take a motion to adjourn our regular scheduled planning and zoning meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, and we will adjourn and be back at approximately 1:30.